There is so much debate swirling around the whole EPA DHA issue. So many are rallying against fish oil products, and likely for good reason, with the cheaper ones. I am teaching a class using the best-selling How Not to Die as the text. Dr. Michael Greger cites so many studies against fish oils. He calls the ocean humanity's sewer. He references a study of more than 12,000 food and feed samples across 18 countries, which found that the highest PCB contamination was found in fish and fish oil. With 2 first-degree relatives with dementia, I want to be proactive and take EPA DHA Guard daily, yet not jeopardize my health. Dr. Jaffe, can you address what makes PERQUE's EPA DHA Guard higher quality? How can we know it's better than others? Pure, not rancid, not toxic. And can you speak to the overall purity of our product?
Important question. And I agree that in general, the commercial fish oil products, which have nothing in common with the PERQUE EPA DHA Guard, the commercial products that have been criticized have legitimately been criticized. They do contain contaminants. They do contain toxic metals. It is true that the ocean is not a very clean place for these fish to swim. But it turns out that if you get your oil, it's called menhadrin oil. This means you get it from little fish called sardines, and you get that from very relatively pristine areas. But much more importantly, and rather distinctive in regard to PERQUE EPA DHA Guard, is from the fish all the way to the customer, we protect and enhance, we protect the delicate unsaturated fats, the EPA and DHA, and we then micelize, that is, make more available for easy uptake, the EPA DHA Guard that we have distilled under nitrogen. Nitrogen to mean that oxygen is excluded, which means that oxygen would oxidize and damage. You have to have special equipment to do this distillation under nitrogen. But I can tell you that pharmaceutical grade fish oil, which exists, is all distilled under nitrogen. And I'm glad to tell you that as far as I know, we were the first non-pharmaceutical company to use the nitrogen distilled, protected, purified, active EPA DHA. So yes, PERQUE EPA DHA is different. It is different because when PERQUE looks at a product, we have biochemists and clinicians, we have physiologists and people who understand molecular biology. And so we go out and ask questions that very often other companies, other people, other investigators don't ask. And we do this for a good reason. Not only do we take these products, but our family takes these products. Everyone who takes these products from our point of view is part of the PERQUE family by extension. Now, just to underscore why it is very important to get native, protected, non-oxidized, non-damaged, non-contaminated fish oil, EPA DHA rich. And by the way, one of the benefits that you get when you remove the toxins that this and other professors have railed against, and I think correctly, but don't throw the baby, which is our PERQUE EPA DHA Guard distilled under nitrogen and micellized. Don't throw that baby out with the bath water. The bath water are the other, what I would say, less clean to be polite, forms of fish oil. And this is an example of something that comes up regularly when the usual and common commercial forms are found to be deficient or damaged or contaminated. And it gives us at PERQUE an opportunity to say, you know, we thought about that ahead of time. And not only do we exclude by design, but we do third-party post-production testing. That is, we send the product to a lab that does reference quality testing, generally for commercial studies, for government institutions, and for clients like us. And why do we do that? Why do we go to the trouble and expense of doing third-party post-production testing? Because every quality house that we use does their own testing and sends us the reports of their testing. But like President Reagan used to say, we trust, but we verify. And we verify by sending samples and getting third-party post-production testing. So we not only are sure because of the production quality, but we're sure because of the post-production testing that the concerns that these scientists have, legitimate concerns about the commercial fish oil, actually point out why people should be taking PERQUE EPA DHA Guard. Now, 1/3 of the white matter of the brain is DHA. And the way I summarize the issue is you need EPA for body and brain, you need DHA for brain and body, you do need both. They don't easily interconvert. And you must have the EPA and the DHA. There are upstream sources of omega-3 that in many people, especially the people who need the supplement, are inhibited by toxic metals and other environmental contaminants. So you want to take the active EPA and DHA, you want to take it distilled under, you want to have it made and distilled under nitrogen to remove the toxic matter. And then you want to micelize it so you enhance the uptake and ease the delivery. Now, the issue of rancidity is also a very important issue. Oxygen causes rancidity anytime you separate an oil from its source. So in the body, oils are protected by antioxidants. Magnesium turns out to be the preferred protective antioxidant for unsaturated fats in transport, important role for magnesium in health. And so the bottom line is that when you use PERQUE EPA DHA Guard, you get the most active, the most purified, and the most, from our point of view, clinically verified, active, safer form of omega-3 fats. And as Artemis Simopoulos and others have pointed out, omega-3 deficit is a major cause of autoimmune, inflammatory, and repair deficit conditions. And while you need both omega-6 and omega-3, in general, people in Western societies get somewhere between 20 and 60 times more omega-6 than omega-3. So we want to up the omega-3 intake. We want to reduce the omega-6 intake by reducing edible oils and processed and crisped and overly manipulated foods. Because when you get your fats from nuts and seeds and whole sources, the protective molecules are present. It's when you separate the oil, say the olive oil from the olive, or the whatever oil we were talking about. There's borage oil, there's grapeseed oil, there's almond oil, peanut oil, coconut oil, there's all sorts of oils. But be very careful. Once you separate the oil from the seed, you have increased the omega-6 and you've increased the risk of oxidative oxygen damage. So we don't recommend generally supplementing with omega-6, although we have people who start with the PERQUE EPA DHA Guard, replenish that, they change their diet, they follow the predictive biomarkers and the LRA test results, they eat only whole foods, and now, after a period of time, they have lowered their omega-6, they have increased their omega-3, and now either you continue taking some EPA DHA Guard, and I take 6 to 10 grams a day. Barry Sears now recommends 15 grams a day to counterbalance the omega-6. And you can either add or substitute the PERQUE triple EFA, omega-3, 6, 9 in a balanced formula for those who are in balance, those who have replenished their EPA DHA. Just to reinforce one point that I made, when you say the brain is 1/3 DHA, at least the white matter, is 1/3 DHA. Shrinking white matter is one of the signs of senility, of loss of brain function. So loss of white matter is a huge deal. Replenishing white matter requires DHA, requires magnesium, requires choline and citrate. It requires an alkaline milieu, that is, you take in more minerals to buffer the metabolic acids that get made every day. And now not only can you protect the brain so that it maintains a high DHA content, but you can replenish the brain. You can rebuild the DHA. It's 6 to 12 months for most people, half a year to a year for most people to replenish their DHA. But you can get biologically and functionally younger with regard to these risk factors by following the PERQ Integrative Health PIH model, which is the alkaline way to sustainable health, including quality EPA DHA and other quality synergistic supplements that together form a team. And by design, all PERQ products are free of oxidation and damage, free of rancidity. And here's a good clinical way to prove that. Most fish oils, if you bite into, and they're mostly soft gels, if you bite into a soft gel with fish oils, most of them are sharp and not very pleasant tasting, a sign of rancidity. I can tell you that PERQUE EPA DHA Guard is very mild because it has no damage, it has no rancidity. So, astute questions, glad to show the difference that PERQ makes by design, as well as by confirmation and execution, and most importantly, the feedback of our clinicians.